Okay, viewers, a question that comes up occasionally in the comments is something along the lines of, I pedal my bike but the rear wheel doesn't turn, or I turn the pedals but my bike doesn't move, or some variation of that. And it's kind of a frustrating question because there's not one simple, easy answer to that. There's just not enough information to really begin to answer without playing a game of 20 questions. I decided to put together a video to go over a lot of the main causes of that, and I already have videos on how to fix most of those things. So what I'll do is, as I go through them, and I'll have the links show up on the screen in the form of cards if you can see those, but I'll also have links down in the description of this video on how to fix those different issues. Okay, I'm going to talk about freewheels and cassettes first. If your hub has multiple cogs on here, like for different speeds, then you have a freewheel or cassette. If you're not sure which you have, I have a video, it's freewheels versus cassettes, that tells you how to tell the difference. Now, if you determine that you have a freewheel, and this is a freewheel, and what this does is it spins freely in one direction, independent of the little hub there, but if it goes the other direction when you pedal and the chain's pulling it, it grabs the hub and turns that, and so it turns the wheel. How that works is there's a ratcheting mechanism inside. There's little spring-loaded fingers called pawls, and there's teeth inside. If you turn it in the one direction, the little fingers just slip over the little teeth, but if you turn it in the other direction, those little little pawls pop out with the spring-loaded and grab the teeth and turn the little center here and turn the wheel when you pedal. But something that happens is if the bike's been sitting for a while, the grease inside can get thick or sticky, and those little pawls don't spring up and grab the teeth. They just kind of stay stuck down, and so when you pedal forward, they just slip over the teeth and the wheel doesn't turn. So in that case, what you want to do is flush out the old grease and re-lube the freewheel, and I have a video on how to do that. And in most cases, that'll solve the problem. But it's also possible that the insides of the freewheel are damaged. Sometimes the little spring in there breaks or the little pawls get damaged somehow. In that case, just go ahead and replace the freewheel with a new one, and that should solve your issue. Now be aware that in addition to multi-speed freewheels like this, there are also single-speed freewheels like this, like found on like BMX bikes, and they work the exact same way as the multi-speed freewheels, and you would follow the same procedures like this to go ahead and flush out the old grease and re-lube them just like on the other freewheels. And if that doesn't solve the issue, just go ahead and replace them. Now if you have a cassette, which is similar but different to a freewheel, the ratcheting mechanism is not part of the cogs. It has a separate little part here called a Freehub, but it works basically the same as the ratcheting mechanism in a freewheel. It's got the tiny little pawls that slip the one way and catch the other way to turn the wheel. Again, they can get stuck, and so I have a video on how to remove this from the wheel and flush the old grease out and re-lube it, and most times that will fix the issue. If that doesn't fix the issue, then go ahead and replace the Freehub. Okay, so the next scenario to look at is internally geared hubs like made by Sturmey-Archer and Shimano. The first thing to look at on these is the shift cable. If the shift cable adjustment is off in a certain way, it's possible that the hub can be shifted between two gears and be like in a neutral. So right now here, it's adjusted correctly, but if I pull the cable out just a little bit and kind of get it just right now it's between two gears and it's not catching, so I could be pedaling and the bike wouldn't be moving. So I actually have some videos out there. I have one video on how to adjust the shift cable on Sturmey-Archer 3-speed hubs. I have another video on how to adjust the shift cable on Shimano 3-speed hubs. Go check those out. Well, if the shift cable doesn't seem to be the issue, it could be that the pawls inside the hub are sticking a little bit. These hubs need to be lubricated occasionally. So this one has an oil port. Normally you would just put in a few drops of oil, like a thin oil, and it would circulate around the hub and keep everything nice and loose. You want to use like a thin oil, I use like wet chain lube. You can use automatic transmission fluid. Some people use Filtenaceous oil. I think that's a little thick. I prefer a thin oil. If it hasn't been lubricated in a while, you might want to put it in a little bit more and then be spinning the wheel around a little bit, try to get it all circulated throughout there, and maybe that'll help free up the pawls. If your hub does not have an oil port like this, one thing you do is you can disconnect the cable here, unscrew the little indicator pin out of there, and then put the oil in through that way. And again, move the wheel around to try to get it circulated throughout there, and maybe that will help free up the pawls. If that doesn't work, then it could be that there's something going on inside there. So you may need to overhaul the hub, take it apart, clean it, lube it. I have some videos on working on a few different versions of Sturmey-Archer hubs and some Shimano hubs as well. Some of those hubs were built better than others. So like the AW hub is like a workhorse, lasts forever pretty much. Some of the other hubs, like the pawls in there, will break up and fail. So it could be that you need to find new parts to replace those. Check eBay or some other places to see if you can find like new pawls if you need to replace the parts in there. Okay, and another scenario, coaster brake hubs with like a brake arm like this, usually single speed. With these, the grease inside can get old and thick and sticky and not allow the parts to move freely, and that can prevent the part from moving over to engage the wheel as you're pedaling forward. What you're pretty much going to need to do is take them apart, clean them, re-lube them, put them back together, make sure they're adjusted correctly, and hopefully that will solve your issue. Now the problem with this is there's a lot of different variations of coaster brakes, that the insides are different from brand to brand, model to model. And I have videos on a couple different ones out there, and I'll add more over time as I encounter different ones. But that's pretty much what you're going to have to do to get one of these things going if it's not engaging when you pedal. Well, anyway, those are some of the most common reasons why a rear wheel won't engage when you pedal the bike. Is this list complete? No, not even close. There's countless possibilities of what might happen to cause that issue, but those are some of the main things. This particular bike here, when I started working on it, didn't engage when I pedaled, but then it started engaging after I started playing with it a little bit. It's got a freewheel, and so apparently the grease kind of sticking the pawls kind of loosened up a little enough so that the pawls started engaging. I'm still going to take the freewheel off, flush it out, re-lube it, and just clean it all up, and then it should just start working perfectly. Anyway, hope you found this video helpful or interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button. Be sure to click the little bell so you'll get notified of new videos as they come out. I'm over on Facebook, RJ the Bike Guy. Go over there, like that page. I post a lot of stuff over there. And I have a webpage, rjthebikeguy.com. Go check that out as well. Anyway, thank you much for watching.